Several months ago, I got to try my first Apex Emergency quest in Monster Hunter Rise, and I got slapped. But I'm happy to say I'm back, and I slapped all of those Apexes solo. Welcome back, classy crew, to another Rise Sunbreak journal as I attempt to complete every single quest in this game, and I am happy to announce all of the Rise quests are done. All the low rank, all the high rank, everything related to high rank, including the expeditions, the events, the arenas, and the challenge quests are all done. Thanks to that little thing I did with the 12 trials of Hey Jay. Trial number 1, which was completing all of the Rise quests, is now finished. And including what I had left to do was pretty much cleaning up a little bit of my high rank quests, some of my event ones, all of the Apex emergencies, all of the last event stuff that they added to the game. And to my surprise, I kind of screwed myself because my pledge was, hey, every quest, which means I had to do the challenges and the arena quests, which are things that I'm not very familiar with, and they throw you into an arena with different weapons I don't know how to use. So the first thing was I just cleaned up a lot of quests that were just kind of easy, and I knew that I could do them in multiplayer because I never pledged to do all of these solo. However, the spirit of the pledge was to take on all of the endgame challenges solo. And so got rid of the hard stuff, not the hard stuff, got rid of the fluff, if you will, in multiplayer. Meanwhile, I was like, well, if I'm going to be doing endgame Rise, I should have an endgame Rise gear. And for those who are just joining us, I have done endgame Rise on the Switch, so I had to restart everything on PC, which is where I play Rise Sunbreak now. In fact, I don't even have Sunbreak on my Switch. So all of the armor, I had the Valstrax armor and all that on my Switch file. I never had that on my PC file. Turns out for a Switch axe, I think, well, I don't know about the other weapons, but Valstrax armor is a pretty good one to go for. And so I farmed that out, decked myself out in Valstrax armor. So I had Dragon Heart at level 5, which meant that if my health was at under 80%, I would get Dragon Blight, which would give me elemental resist plus 50 for all the elements, making me basically immune to elements. Resentment I had at level 3, which means that if I have that little red part in my health, I get a boost of 15 to my attack. And finally, Resuscitate is if I have any kind of abnormal status, I get plus 20 to my attack. So basically, if I'm a damage good, I become buff. And so in the later parts of the footage, me playing in the end game, you'll notice I never try to heal all the way. I try to keep my health under 80% so I can get that boost and that buff, which, man, does it make a difference. Let's talk about the Apexes. There are 6 of these, and I have gotten to know them quite well because I had to fight them in rampages to unlock them in the high rank quests, and then I had to fight them again in events, sometimes 2 of them, sometimes 3 of them in an arena, and then of course eventually the emergencies. And these things were terrifying at first. Like the Apex Zenogre that I fought many months ago destroyed me, but this time I went in with like a newfound sense of confidence. Maybe it's because I took on Primordial Malzeno or something, but these things were so much more manageable, and the fact that I was fighting them, I was learning their moves. Like I was just absorbing the moveset in a way I never, like I felt like a new level of brain unlocking, and I could just see how these things moved. The Arzuros, the Apex Arzuros, let's talk about him. He's the one I fought the least out of all the Apex. There's just less of him to go around. He caught me off guard by the amount of swipes. I didn't realize that he can go up to sometimes like 4 or 5 swipes in his combo. I thought he was limited to 2 or 3. So when he added a few extra swipes to that, otherwise, Arzuros is just pretty much get out of his way, smack, smack, get out of his way, smack, smack. Like he's pretty straightforward to fight. The Apex Rathalos gave me a lot of trouble. I don't know why I struggled so much to really learn this Rathalos' moveset. It's probably because it's in the air most of the time, and I just never felt fully comfortable with the Apex Rathalos. That said, it was hit or miss. Some nights I could fight him and I'd struggle. Some nights he was the easiest of the fights. So it was really strange. In all of the Apex emergencies, they were all pretty much just buffed up. And what really saved me, like I can't say I really struggled that hard with any of these Apex emergencies, mostly because I had my endgame gear. Everything was increased, like I upgraded everything. And the game changer is I actually brought drugs. So I was actually playing very careful, using all of the tools in my arsenal. I was using the demon drugs and the mega one. So I had my defense and offense boosted. I found that these endgame challenges were actually quite well tuned for the endgame gear of the hunter, and it was pretty evenly matched where I didn't feel like I was overpowered, but I also didn't feel like it was entirely unfair and I could get one-shotted. Like, the hits hit hard, but once you had those drugs, it felt pretty cushy. Rathian, Apex Rathian. Now this one really sucked. I hated it because, oh my god, it poisons you so much, and if it's not poisoning you, it's throwing spikes, making poison clouds everywhere, doing double, triple disco in the air, poisoning you. This one absolutely sucked. I fought it enough times that I started to learn its moveset, but man, I never liked it. But you know, you keep some herbal medicine on you, and it's pretty good to knock that one out. Mizutsune, Apex Mizutsune, I don't think I had properly appreciated this one. I absolutely love the color scheme that they came up with it, and the blue furry tail looks really good. This one I struggled the most with its moveset. Luckily, Apex Mizutsune has the same weakness as Mizutsune, which is if you hit the head enough times, it's constantly on the ground, and the switch axe is perfect with its combo and moveset to just constantly be pummeling the head. And so once I could get into those series of combos hitting its head, Apex Mizutsune was relatively easy to knock out. Next, this one I think I had almost little to no experience fighting it, and it was the Apex Diablos. Oh my god, this thing was terrifying. It moved so fast. I eventually learned when it roared twice and became like exceptionally like shiny and like veiny. That's when, after the roar, you pretty much had a split second to do a Superman dive because it would hyperspace right into your face. And the first couple times it did that, it was absolutely terrifying. I couldn't believe it could move that fast. But then when I learned that, okay, 2 roars, hyperspace to the face, then I was like, okay, all I gotta do is just jump out of the way. And that was pretty comfortable at that point. I've also learned that the Apex Diablos, if you pretty much just stay underneath it, you're safe for the most part. He can't ram you, he can't slam you with his tail. If you're constantly rolling, staying under him, whoosh whoosh with your switch axe, it's pretty good. Another thing I learned with the Apex Diablos is they're pretty smart. So a few times in the desert, I had him ram the mountain thing so that there was the sand pit to try to trap him in the sand pit. And he would jump over the sand pit, and he did it 2 times. So I'm like, okay, these monsters are programmed to avoid the traps in the world. That is so freaking smart. And lastly, the Apex Zinogre. I don't know what happened. I guess got enough defense to fight him more evenly. He was really fun to dance. And again, it's all about just staying close to him, being aware that he has the tail slam and the double bam bam with the paws. I think fighting him through Old World has just given me more understanding of his moveset, and he's just a little faster this time. So if you just tune your moveset to be fast with him, it's for the most part quite manageable. So that's how I took out the Apex monsters with the emergency quests. It was mostly a lot of preparation. A few other notable fights in the end game here was the Advanced Allmother, which, wow, I hadn't fought that in a long time. So to go back to the music and the fight and like having that whole proof of a hero go off, I could appreciate that fight in a way I didn't the first time I fought it just because of my experience. And it felt so much better and so much cooler to do that fight. It was just a good time. Like, I really, it was putting a smile to my face as I was hunting it, because there was just something, I guess nostalgia is the word at this point, because, you know, now that I'm in Sunbreak, going back to Rise, it's like going back to some early memories of early Monster Hunter for me. And yeah, it was just very nostalgic to go back there. And then there was the Advanced Crimson Glow Valstrax quest, which honestly, that gave me more trouble than the Apex emergency quest. And that's because I didn't fight Crimson Valstrax alone enough time, so I actually didn't know his moveset very well, and he kept hitting me with his stupid punching the ground. That thing got me like every time he used it, and I double carded, almost triple carded, and the first time I think I forgot to take my drugs, which is another problem. Those drugs, man, they really turned the tide of the fight. So that was tough, but I pulled through, knocked him out, barely got that adrenaline rush. And that was pretty much the highlights of my endgame rush. Now, On the opposite spectrum of the highlights, someone pointed out, hey, there are event rampage quests that give you check marks. I was like, oh no, because I need if it has, the rule is for this pledge, if it has a check mark, I got to do it. And so I got a bunch of friends to do multiplayer with me and knock out the rampages because, oh man, honestly, I don't enjoy rampages anymore. I could appreciate them for what they were, what they attempted to do. Bravo for trying something new, honestly. But I don't enjoy doing them. I'd rather just play the other part of Monster Hunter and not the rampages. So there were 6 of those. I did them all. I have really nothing to say about them because it's all kind of the same stuff. You just kill a lot of monsters. That's all there is to it. So knocked all those out. And then the arena and challenge quests, which made me sweat so much. These ones, I will say, I got to appreciate a few new weapons. I think it was the first time I really used dual blades in Monster Hunter Rise, because I just needed a weapon that I could maneuver with and do some damage, because these things, like, I'm fighting monsters with weapons I had no idea. So if there was a switch axe, I went for that. I tried doing the charge blade since I used that in 4U, but the moveset is so different in Rise, it was messing me up with my usual combo. I kept getting stuck in an animation where, like, I shove the sword in the shield and turn it into an axe. And it wasn't the morph one, it was a slower one, and that always left me open to attacks. So I'm like, this is too risky for arena where you can only fate once. I can't do the charge blade without more training. So my go-tos were the sword and shield, the switch axe if it was available, and then the dual blades, which I've come to actually enjoy quite a bit. I kept pretty much just spamming the right button, which lets you do like the spinnies, and then I would just go into demon mode, spin, watch my stamina, get out of demon mode, charge it up, and it was pretty much, that was it. Like, I really didn't do much, but it got me through. And I also got to try light bowgun properly for the first time. And I was learning on the fly with chat kind of helping me, and Blue, the instructor, helping me, giving me some tips about all the different ammo types. And honestly, it was pretty fun to try light bowgun as I was understanding the different elements of the ammo and all the different things I can do, that I can shoot my allies to heal them or buff them, or I can do all these different things, like have a sticky ammo that does very little damage, but then it blows up and can, like, knock out a monster. So actually playing with light bowgun was kind of fun, especially in multiplayer, so that the aggro of the monster isn't all on you. I don't know if I would actually enjoy doing it solo, where you actually have to deal with the full aggro of a monster. And also, I don't think I would like the inventory management of the ammo. But in these quests where I pretty much had access to all of the ammo and I could just experiment and learn, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was hard though. Like, I kept accidentally putting like mines in the ground when I was trying to sheath. I was like chugging a potion when I was trying to sheath. I was just completely messed up in how to play. But hey, I was able to stay far from the monster, just go pew 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 and knock all those out. So that's it. Rise is done. So to complete this pledge, I've just got a lot of Sunbreak to do. There is so much Sunbreak left. I still have to finish my master rank. I still have to raise my anomaly rank. All of the event quests too. So I'm probably not finishing Sunbreak for another year or two. Like, this is ridiculous. There's just so much content in that game. But at least I can say the base game is done. So it's a milestone and I feel good about that. So I'll see you on the next Journal of Sunbreak whenever I make some meaningful progress there. And until next time, keep it classy.